Hello and welcome to the Lucky Frog Gaming Podcast Independence Day. You are joined by your usual hosts, Josh Hartley and Ben Porter. How are we doing, Ben?
You're changing the intro again?
What?
Mixing it up?
How have I changed the intro? I don't have the thing written in front of me. This is off the cuff.
You just
this
had
is
it with
improvised.
Independence Day, like that, and then just carried on.
Yeah, but this is an Independence Day episode. We've got Nigel waiting on the other line.
He's disappointed in you as well. I hope you picked up on that.
Look. Hello, Nigel from One Free Elephant. How are we doing today?
Hello, it's good. I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. I imagine of late you've been rather pleased indeed. Actually, for those who haven't been following. One Free Elephant have recently, more than successfully absolutely obliterated the funding target for Microbrew, their new game about making craft beer.
They broke the nose of their funding goal, stole its lunch money, gave it a wedgie, and sent it home.
After flushing its head down the toilet a few times as well. Painful memories.
It's a lot darker than it really.
Nigel physically hasn't done that. But
it's actually quite a positive thing. We're maybe not like
this is a metaphor.
Yeah.
This is a metaphor. But yes, I actually put it to Ben that in the spirit of Microbrew that I should get smashed off craft ale before coming on today's show. I haven't done that. That idea was vetoed.
Maybe we could do that. Just a Twitch stream. Josh gets smashed. Just you alone in your flat.
What pished stream?
Yeah, just you alone in your flat, surrounded by empty cans.
We're going to a very. This can go to a very dark place very quickly. So a lot to talk about then about your successful campaign, but perhaps the best starting place is what was the inspiration of behind the design of Microbrew?
The design came from us wanting to do a small game. Yeah, we wanted to do a big game in a small space. And we like cheesy puns, so it's like
who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what's the gag gonna be? And it's like, well, small things, small, microbrew. It's gonna be a beer game.
Yeah,
that's
we
a
need
good
to learn
pun,
about
Josh.
beer now.
Okay. That's a good pun.
Are you just gonna like berate me for the entire episode?
Have you never been on?
No, that's true. Actually, I don't know why I'm not used to this by now. Yeah. So yes, so you specifically though, was there not a design competition that was running that you were involved in?
Yeah, because we were interested in doing a small game. It was like a reaction thing we had to some advice that we've been giving about the size of our games, and maybe we're told our box should be bigger, and we're like. And well, we're contrary buggers, so we're like, okay, good advice, thank you. It's gonna be a small game now. It's gonna be tiny. Mm-hmm. So, and Sarah spotted that on Board Game Geek there was a competition running almost the same time, and it was for like do a game and fit it in a mint tin. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, that's pretty small. We can do that. So let's make the tiniest game, but make it like a proper game. Because a lot of the games that have been done up to now that do mint tin games, they tend to be just like 10, 15 minute things. Yeah, some of them are really good. We're a really big fan of Mintworks. Mintworks is like basically lives in my bag. But they're like 10, 15 minutes. We want to get something meaty, something that you would feel like a proper game. So that's kind of where it came from.
And I mean, Nigel's not exaggerating. We're talking like standard issue mint tin size, like so it is tiny.
The Altoids, or fisherman's friends,
but you're quite right in that. I feel the game. It feels like a proper big box worker placement game.
Yeah,
with a big puzzle element to it.
Yeah, I mean, some people, the feedback we've got is some people are just, yeah, I want a big version of this. We're like,
no, this is not the point.
If you were to do that, what would you call it? Would it be Microbrew?
Yeah, see, I was totally heart set against it for the whole thing, and then somebody suggested you should call it Microbrew, and I thought, oh, that's good.
Yeah,
ridiculous. No, but like have oversized cards as well.
Oh
like,
yeah, it could be like, okay, you want a big game? I will give you a big game. I'll give you a game you can club someone to death with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wooden counters the size of your fist.
Yeah.
But yes, so obviously you've took the game to Kickstarter. The campaign is now finished.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, but we're talking in excess of, what was it, 100,000?
Yeah, it was 119,600 and something.
What was your original funding goal?
8,000.
just to put that into perspective for everyone, you know.
Yeah, a phenomenal achievement. What do you attribute that to?
See, kind of like in retrospect, we should have realized it was quite good, but it's like, that was a quite good idea, yeah. But it's like we did a family game for our first game, and then we did like a Lovecraftian game, yeah. So the Lovecraftian games kind of got a built-in audience, and that helped us a bit. And then we're doing a game about beer, and we thought, oh God, do people like beer? I mean, are people going to want a game about beer? But you know, in retrospect, you know what? People like beer.
People really like beer.
Yeah, and there's been a few beer brewing games before, but they always seem to concentrate on, you know, like the logistical stuff, like the management stuff of making beer. And we were like
shipping and
shit
and
like that.
Like, what do you mean boring shit? I love micromanaging.
Yeah, I mean, these sort of games are fun, but it didn't seem to me that the attraction for like people that homebrew and people that are into craft beers would be about the taste, surely. So that's why we've got the little puzzle thing. It's like the puzzle is about making the right taste, and that's like the core of the game. So I think that's kind of caught people's imaginations as well.
Because I don't drink. But a couple of my friends have talked before about visiting distilleries and things like that. And they've said, and they've gone to me, you'll not like it. No, I would be really interested in seeing the process, like seeing the stills and the tanks and all that. And it's like you're saying, Nigel, that, you know, you've said there about the flavor, but even like the whole process of creating that, like one of my favorite features of the game is that you actually have your copper tank.
Yeah.
There.
I don't know, but that is my favorite element of the game. The puzzle bit of, okay, like trying to make the perfect brew, but I'm kind of running low on money, so maybe I just knock one out that'll do, and
just make a super lager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How? What? I mean, I'm curious. What did you do in terms of research?
Well, right, it started off kind of generic, yeah. Because we were doing it for this competition, and you don't have much time to do these things for the competition. So it was kind of generic when we first put it up. And the core gameplay elements were, the mechanics were in place, but like a lot of the theme was very lightly done. And we got like a message through from one of the people that was following the competition, because it's one of these like open development things where you put up a prototype and then see if anyone gives you some feedback on it, and then adjust based on that. Yeah. So there's like members of the public and playtesters and that sort of thing, all just kind of pitching in. And one of them sent this like 2-page message on Board Game Geek saying, "Hello, I do homebrewing, and this is what you need to do." And it was broken down as, this is what your beers need to be called, this is what your elements need to be called, you need to change that and that to make it more authentic. And it was great. It was like he did all the research for us.
I do homebrewing from my mother's basement, that kind of thing.
But yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to plug that straight in there. Job done.
Oh, fantastic! What a kind gentleman, actually saving you what would ordinarily be a massive task.
I'll just use that
because there's a lot of people as well that are into it, and they like the idea that their hobby is being modelled in this thing. So it gets people. Oh, look, I'm into that, yeah, and so they kind of engage in it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of interesting actually, because some of the stuff we've put in turns out to be regional. So we've had like a bone of contention has been the copper, the kettle that we've got, because we've been told point blank, if we want to be authentic, we have to call it a kettle. Yeah.
Yes.
You can't call it a copper. That's not authentic. And we've been told point blank categorically that you have to call it a copper. If you call it a kettle, then you're not being authentic.
Yeah, and you're just going to get feedback like the fact that it was called a copper and not a kettle spoiled my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, 1 star.
Yeah.
People aren't being mean about it. It tends to be folk that are quite engaged in it, and they just want it to be that extra bit of authentic. Yeah,
they want it to be perfect.
It's like, but we've literally been told the opposite by the last person we talked to. Like, okay, so what we decided, we'll just go with our region. Yeah, so like the Scottish breweries that are the ones we talk to, they call it like the copper, so we're sticking with copper, and they'll just have to cope.
People will deal with it.
I'm sure they'll live.
Yeah.
So we were talking just a little bit earlier about the success of the campaign, but obviously, for maybe people that don't know there, although you have the Kickstarter campaign proper, you almost have this campaign in the run up to it, and you did a lot of groundwork for that. Like I remember one of the promos that you did. Going back to your earlier comment about the size of boxes, is you took the Arkham Horror card game box, and it's like, how many copies of Microbrew fit into a box of Arkham Horror?
What is the answer, actually?
It was 12. And the important thing was, while Arkham Horror is still in the box.
Wow.
No, but this is a whole thing, like Nigel's saying, is that and Fantasy Flight are probably one of the most guilty of it, is making your box a lot bigger than it needs to be because it takes up more space on the shelf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gets more notice.
I mean, Fantasy Flight, because it's a collectible card game sort of thing, they kind of get away with it for that one at least. Yeah, but I mean, it is a thing. Yeah, it's our worst one that we own. I wanted to do, but I couldn't anymore. Was Machikoro. I wanted to do that one, but I can't because I threw out the box because the entire bloody game and 2 expansions fit in the expansion box, and the expansion box is still only half full.
Yes, it's so wasteful, isn't it? But
especially in this climate where, not to get a bit preachy, but where we are so conscious of the amount of rubbish that we're generating.
You know what it reminds me of? Yeah, I remember Easter eggs. Easter eggs used to come in massive boxes it was mostly just packing material, and then like a cream egg at the bottom of it, sort of thing. Yeah, and they stopped doing that because there was like eventually a backlash that says that's just packaging you're selling. You're just wasting money and the environment, and it feels a lot like board games sometimes do that.
So, do you have a moral objection to boxes like that, like we've talked about with Machikoro, where they're just making space to fill up a space on a shelf and catch the eye?
It's not really a moral objection, more a vague grumpiness.
I thought as much, but
I'm too old and I'm too jaded to have a moral objection about pretty much anything anymore.
This thing annoys me. Yeah.
Given the number of things that are wrong in the world, the size of board game boxes feels like seems like a low-hanging fruit.
Probably quite low on the list of things to fix in the world.
Yeah, there's things I'm going to fight. It's not going to be. I mean, we basically we do things because to be contrary. Yeah, I mean, ultimately we are an indie board game development studio, and we kind of think, look, you could follow the general pattern, same as everybody else, but I mean, if you're going to be indie. Be indie. Find something that makes you different that nobody else is doing, and just bloody do that. Or at least that's our idea. Is just do what you want to do, and I want to make things that are small and fit. And the idea was we hoped we'd find like a market for that isn't being served. Yeah, because there's basically there's us and there's Tim Fowers is doing really great tightly packed boxes and a couple of other people, but mostly it's empty space.
Yeah.
And you can see the point. I mean, it's clearly good business sense because people do shift. But I mean, we've done it ourselves. We were gonna buy Burgle Bros. It was like Essen 2 years ago, and we picked up the box and we looked at it and thought, that's £35. And the reason why it felt dense, but it's like it's not a very big space, so we nearly didn't buy it. Yeah. Because you do get kind of indoctrinated to the idea that bigger is better, yeah, even though there's not necessarily anything but air in the box. So, maybe we'll change it slightly. Yeah. Maybe we've made a point, or, maybe we've just made a silly game about beer. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think either which way, it's a good thing. So
yeah, I think as much as But this is part of what being independent's about, right? Is that the bigger companies are so risk averse that they just do what all the other big companies do. But when you're independent, it's a chance to go against.
I want whoever's editing this episode to just have like Star Spangled Banner fade in as you're talking about independence there.
Yeah, I'm taking that as like a backhanded compliment that you were sort of inspired by what I said there.
Either Star Spangled Banner or Flower of Scotland, I guess. That might be more appropriate.
Let's not put Flower of Scotland on.
There we go.
But to go back to the earlier question about the campaign before the campaign, as it were, what sort of groundwork, provocative videos aside, did you have to do for Microbrew?
For Microbrew, it was we did design diaries and we kind of published them as much as we could, and you just try and participate, in various communities so people get to know you. Sarah's really good at that sort of thing. She really enjoys like community engagement and getting involved with all the like Facebook groups and that sort of thing. I'm a grumpy old man, so I don't like humans really much, but yeah. But generally speaking, and you just try and participate and go along to your local development groups and do some play testing of their games and try and help them out and that sort of stuff. Because ultimately, you want to kind of get word out about your game, but you're also you want people to know why you're doing it, because you are doing something that's a bit weird. And yeah, it's just a matter of doing this sort of thing without coming off like you want to give some information as well. Yeah, you can advertise your game all you want, but unless you give some, so our design diaries are going to like kind of detailed mechanical discussions on why I did this and what games inspired me and that sort of stuff, and the vague hope that it's useful to someone that's designing their own game. Yeah. We did like after I did all the art files, I did like this document that described how to do card art for games and how to lay it out and give examples from the game and stuff like that, and you just put it on the forums to say, look, this might be of use to someone. If it is, maybe come check out our game. We'd love it if you had a look, sort of thing. Yeah, because it's not like we're not like selling clothes or cars or anything like that. This is ultimately like a niche community hobby thing, so it's about kind of participating and engaging with the community, and then I think they respond to that, maybe.
And it's a nice way of giving something a little back as well, like by helping aspiring designers as well and writing about the process.
Yeah.
It probably saves you a lot of time of answering pointless questions about why you did this and why you did that, because you can just go, check out my blog right here.
Yeah, don't mind getting questions, that sort of thing, because people... Yeah, because ultimately, like, it was like 2 years ago we were doing the exact same thing, and it is kind of, you could potentially lose a lot of money by doing things wrong. And there, ultimately, as soon as you get a campaign out there, there are ultimately like sharks that start to circle around you and start to say, hey, I'll do this for you, and all I need is like 3% of your take and that sort of stuff. And you need to be careful. Yeah. So that's something that we had great advice when we started. So it seems only fair that we are willing to step up, and if anyone needs help, help
because
them.
there are some horrible people out there.
Yeah, there is.
It's true.
Yeah, no, it's sadly true. Even,
Dumb question time, Nigel.
Crack on.
Did you expect the game to make as much money as it did?
No. I mean, going right.
I mean, he set the goal at 8,000, so like,
honest, 8,000. Yeah, 8,000 was what we needed to actually do a print run. Yeah, so we always set the goal as right. That's the bare minimum. If we get 8,000, then we can do a print run, and folk will get their games. Yeah, we'd hoped, because if you're doing okay, yeah, as long as you do right by your audience, and you get your game out and people like it, or some people like it, and that sort of thing, you build an audience. It seems to be that if you're doing okay, then you'll double. Yeah, so our first game did about $8,000 on its Kickstarter. Our second game did about 30, so we were hoping to hit maybe 50, 60 grand on Microbrew. But again, we were worried about that because the individual pledge was much lower, because it's 15 quid for the game. But so that means we would basically need double the number of backers than we would have needed if we were doing like a full-size game. So we were hoping for about 50, 60k, but we were a bit worried about it because it's like, we weren't sure if it was going to happen. Yeah, so this is like double what we were hoping for. So yeah,
excellent. And you mentioned there £15 for the base pledge. I mean, one of the things that I thought was another positive about the game, that is insane value for money, given given how much there is in the game itself. Like, just this does feel like a proper big box game that you'd probably expect to pay £40-50 for, but in a mint tin instead.
See, that's the thing as well. I mean, because we're indie, we can get away with doing stuff like this, because like cards on the table sort of thing. Now, the game itself costs almost as much to manufacture as Carcosa costs to manufacture. Our last game, not quite, but almost. And it's like, but because it comes in a mint tin, you can't charge 30 quid for it. Nobody's going to give you that. So you have to charge what the market will bear. So it's like when we first launched as well, we didn't have a retailer pledge when we launched, because we physically couldn't afford it. Yeah, we would actually, because retailers pay below the RRP, obviously.
They want to make a profit on it,
the profit margin. Yeah, exactly. They have to. But we couldn't afford to do that. We would have to have been actually paying them to take our games. And it was only once we hit we could do a print run of over 2,000 copies, because you get economies of scale at breakpoints. Yeah, so it's like,
I was going to say, when the economies of scale start to kick in.
Yeah, so then we could afford to have a retailer pledge as well. So we got a bit of a bump from that as well, because because we've got a good number of a little more than 40 maybe retailers signed up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's much more than we had with the last one as well.
I'm not surprised, because just by and we were talking, a lot of the major companies, they would encourage you to put a game like this in a big box so it takes up more shelf space. But actually, see, by virtue of the size of it being a mint tin, this probably in a shop wouldn't go with the big boxes. This will probably go next to like all the trading card game packs and
retailer. You're not freaking out about, I've got these two £200 games taking up all this shelf space. I really need to shift them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real worry for retailers.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's dead money. Yeah. So, but this basically they could. I'm assuming it was like half a dozen per retailer. Stick them on the counter, and you know what? People will be buying their big box game, and they might see that, think, oh, I quite like craft beer. Let's give that a go.
Yeah, we're hoping that they'll shift as well for like the Christmas market, because I mean, it's stocking filler sized as well. Someone that likes board games, that will fit in their stocking. Yeah, it's a little gift. It's compact, nice present, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great. So what happens next then with Microbrew? Are you hoping to get this into the hands of backers before Christmas? Are you going to be able to turn it around?
Definitely not.
Okay.
The folk that,
I was going to say,
yeah, 'cause, the folk that are getting the special edition, the one we're hand making, they'll get it first. But even that, there's a couple of months of shipping and whatnot and stuff that we still need to do. Yeah, so backers, normal backers, the bulk of our backers will be getting it sort of March time.
Okay.
I mean, the early edition ones, we hope we'll get to them for Christmas. We're certainly going to ship to it. We're certainly going to get it in shipping in time for Christmas, but it depends on how long that shipping actually takes. Depending on where they are as well, because we've got backers from literally everywhere in the world. So some of them will take a while to ship out there.
No, I can imagine. It's a good problem to have.
Yes,
good problem to have.
One of the things I liked about the campaign is that there was a pledge level called Special Brew.
I did wonder how many people would actually get
that. To local culture.
I actually do have a brief anecdote that I can share to illustrate that. And it was a couple of years ago, I was in Fort Augustus, which is it's a town in the Highlands, which is it follows the Caledonian Canal. Okay. So it's a popular tourist spot, right? Yeah. So you get a lot of tourists from Japan and Korea and places like that. And there was a man there with his family, and he was quite clearly a tourist. He had the camera around his neck and all that, and they were speaking another language.
Yeah,
it's usually the obvious
safe assumption to make.
And in his hand, he had a can of Tennant's Super Lager. So what I like to think is that he's gone into an off sales and has asked what the local beverage of choice is.
Yeah, and they've just got fill your boots, son.
Get your laughing gear around that.
It might have just been his thought. You know what? I'm going to Scotland. I'm going to have a brew.
Yeah, maybe he had it planned. Like when I get to Scotland, I'm going to have a super lager.
So we went to Japan a few years ago, and I tried all the different sorts of pot noodles that you could get. Not like the official pot, the noodles in a pot sort of thing. Yeah, I had a great time. It's fun. I mean, you go into their supermarkets and they're like 56, the equivalent of 50, 60 pence, something like that. Yeah, so they're actually cheaper than they are here, and they've got some wild and wacky things, and it was just fantastic trying all these. There was one I got one that I had a picture on the top of it, and it was like there was like the noodles, and then there was like a piece of bread and little colourful flowers over the top of it, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that means, because obviously it's all in Japanese, you have no idea. I wonder what's inside. And then I opened up, and it was literally a piece of bread with a little colourful flowers on it.
Well, I mean, it's you can't complain.
Exactly.
So while we're laughing at this guy in Fort Augustus, all the Japanese people are probably laughing at you with your bread.
Well, the other thought I had was, what if Tennant's Super Lager is like really trendy in Tokyo?
Yeah, it's like a hipstery thing.
Okay, because isn't like Buckfast? Buckfast is like quite a posh drink somewhere, isn't it?
Well, it's actually
Buckfast
made
Abbey.
In Buckfast Abbey. Yeah, no one in England drinks Buckfast. It should be pointed out. If you go south of the border, you'll struggle to find it. On sale.
So, Buckfast tonic wine, to use its full name.
Yes.
Tennant's Super Lager, things like that. For anyone who does not know, they are the preserve of the alcoholic / miscreant.
Or both.
Yeah. There's a sort of Venn diagram there.
There's that Venn diagram. There's a significant crossover.
Yeah. and that's obviously the joke that you had there, Nigel, with the special brew pledge.
Yeah. So just before we start to wrap things up, Nigel, if people have missed the boat on the Kickstarter, are you doing a pledge manager so that people can?
There's a pledge manager running right now. So if folk want to get involved, then in fact, if you just like Google Microbrew Kickstarter, that'll go to the main Kickstarter page, and there's a big blue button on the corner there that says pre-order now, that will take you straight onto the
there we go.
Pledge Manager thing.
So go and smash that button, folks.
He's like Nigel's really sort of setting that grumpy old man tone thing. Like, just Google it. All right.
We'll have the link. We'll have the link in the show notes, guys. Yeah. But anyway, I think on that note, then I think that's all we've
covered. Microbrew, special brew, bread noodles.
I suppose actually, just one last thing. So once obviously your world will now be full of microbrew and fulfilling that pledge. But can you shed any light on what's next for One Free Elephant?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Yeah. Because obviously this is our third game now, and at the end of our first game, we had a plan for what we were going to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And then while researching that, we got the inspiration for Carcosa, and then we did that instead. So it's like we didn't do that plan at all. And then towards the end of Carcosa, we were thinking, all right, okay, we pretty much know what we're going to do next, and we didn't do that either. Yeah. So this time we've decided basically, you know what? There's no point in making a plan because we'll do something completely different anyway.
Absolutely fair enough.
Trying to optimize it.
Yeah, no plan quite often is the best plan.
I think we should try and edit that so that it works out that you asked Nigel about the next game and he just goes, piss off, Josh.
Just Google it.
Nigel. There we go. And on that note, folks, thank you very much for listening. Nigel, thank you very much for coming on the show. And until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, it's Charlotte from the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Now be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All you need to do is search Unlucky Frog Gaming. You can also show your support for the Unlucky Frog through Patreon. To find out more information, check out our website www.unluckyfrog.com. Thanks, bye!